For me, conducting and piano were always one and the same. But now, the more and more I conduct, the more I realize how important the piano is for me, because no matter what we do as a conductor, whatever beautiful gestures we make, we don't make any sound. So for me, it's very important for me personally to be making music on my own. Gershwin has always been a part of my life. His music has always been there. I've practiced it since I was a kid. When I was a teenager, I played the Rhapsody in Blue a lot. I'm taking Gershwin very seriously as a serious composer. When I started to learn Porgy and Bess, I opened the score and I was shocked at what I saw. Of course I knew, as everyone knows, the big numbers from this show. It ain't necessarily so, summertime, a woman is a sometime thing. Everyone knows and loves these tunes. But the in-between music, in between these great tunes, was shocking to me. I remember looking at Act 1, Scene 1 to begin with, and hearing some really shocking harmonies. This is just before Robbins is killed. Well, those harmonies are straight out of Stravinsky's Sacre. Porgy and Bess couldn't exist without Stravinsky having done what he did. And you might think, what does Schoenberg have to do with Gershwin? Well, a whole lot, it turns out. Schoenberg, being a Jew in the German-speaking world in the 1930s, quickly got out, thank goodness. And he also ended up in California. The two men met each other, got to be close to each other, were friends with one another, admired each other's music, were tennis partners, and they had some other uncanny resemblances. They were both painters. They both have some beautiful portraits, mainly, that they produced. But you might take any popular Gershwin number, like the first prelude. And you might think, what does that have to do with something as aggressive as the third piece of the Opus 11 of Schoenberg? I brought along an example from the great orchestral showpiece, An American in Paris, to demonstrate this. Everyone knows the big blues number in the middle of it. Well, before the restatement of that theme, the whole orchestra cuts out. There's 2 bars of solo strings, so a string quartet playing this. Well, that transition couldn't have taken place without Schoenberg. It's like a moment of his first 2 string quartets, or his early Verklärte Nacht, or the Berg piano sonata with its slippery, sliding harmonies. The Berg sonata does the very same thing, which I'm playing. But he comes back to B minor. Gershwin venerated Brahms. Gershwin even called, in his second Rhapsody, one of the slow themes, his Brahms theme. I brought it along. Now, it's obviously Gershwin, but if you took out a couple of the blue notes, it could very well be a song of Brahms. It could be a late piano piece, an intermezzo of Brahms's. Now, the Opus 118 of Brahms is a piece that's very special to me. It's only my second time playing it, but I feel very close to it. It's the music of an old man. It's the music of the old Brahms with his face covered, hidden in a big beard, not the young, handsome Brahms optimistically looking out at the world. There are 6 pieces. 4 of them are called intermezzos, kind of a generic term. 1 is called a ballade. Number 5 is called a romance. And you can hear the tenderness in it, looking back on a life with some regret. It's in F major, significant, especially the transition from 5 to 6, from F major to E flat minor. That's a searing, stark transition. And you can hear it in the music. You can hear in number 5, the romance. You can hear the loving tenderness come through. Here's, I'll tell you what, I'll play the end of number 5 and the beginning of number 6, because then you can hear the transition from F major to the beginning of number 6. That comes out of nowhere. It's a foreign note, and it's jarring. And we don't know what the key is. We don't know what the meter is. And it doesn't become apparent for a long time. So here's the end of number 5. Gets more tragic from there. It's the music of someone who's has more days behind him than he has in front of him, and it's the music of someone whose heart has been broken and whose heart will not heal. At very best, it will remain scarred. Well, I open with the piano preludes, the famous, incredibly popular piano preludes, old showpieces of mine. And I close with 18 song transcriptions of Gershwin. And these are actually rarely played. In the early 30s, before Porgy and Bess, Gershwin was famous for going from party to party in New York and crashing the parties, actually. Sitting down at the piano, cigar in hand, martini in the other, and playing his own music, playing his famous popular songs, and improvising on them and creating all these inventive variations on them. And there are very few recordings of Gershwin, but fortunately, a publisher had the sense to ask him to write some of these down. So he did write 18 of them down. Someday he'll come along. The virtuosic, I got rhythm.